Obviously, in the fourth round back here in Miami, and you'll get to face Karolina Muchová, I believe, for the first time. Just what are your thoughts on, playing her? She won in Doha a month ago. Just, your initial thoughts on playing her.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I haven't thought about it much. I haven't had time to think about it much, but she's obviously a great player and is doing really well. A couple of years back, I watched one of her finals, and I was really impressed. So to be put in a position to compete against her is a real privilege and gonna be a test for sure.
You like to mention the phrase "spoonful of gratitude" and how you kind of embraced, that throughout the past year, and this, was a place where it kind of made your breakthrough moment. Just kind of when you mention that phrase, where does that gratitude, come from?
I think the fact I recognize that I'm also blessed to be living my life, or the life that I live. Of course, I've earned it. I've definitely earned it. I've put in the work. That's not to be questioned. But then again, I think it's so important to be grateful for what you have. I've witnessed poverty, in surroundings, or in my surroundings. So I don't take for granted anything, especially family and my team and just the opportunities I'm able to have. So that's why I make it a point to always.
Nobody was expecting what happened next. Alex was standing courtside at the Miami Open, fresh off a brutal training session, hair still damp, racket still in hand, and out of nowhere, a fan walked straight up to her and started singing. Not shouting her name. Not asking for a photo. Singing. An actual song. Just for her. And what did Alex do? She stopped. She listened. And then she smiled. Not the kind of smile you put on for cameras, but the kind that hits your eyes before your brain even catches up. That moment lasted maybe 30 seconds. It will never appear in a match report. No analyst will mention it in a scouting breakdown. But here is the thing, that 30 seconds might matter more than you think. Because before the biggest match of her week, Alex Eala walked onto that court feeling something most players spend their whole careers chasing. She felt seen. And in a sport where mental edge decides everything, that is not a small thing. So let me ask you this right now. Do you think Alex has what it takes to beat Karolina Muchová at the Miami Open in 2026? Drop your answer in the comments because by the end of this video, you might completely change your mind. Let's rewind just a little bit because the fan moment does not mean anything unless you understand what Alex has been building all week in Miami. This was not a relaxed warm-up week. This was not going through the motions and ticking boxes. Alex was out there grinding with Victoria Mboko, Mira Andreeva, and Andrea Lazaro, players who do not give you anything for free. Especially Andreeva. You have to understand what training with Mira Andreeva actually means. Andreeva is not a sparring partner who rolls the ball back to protect your confidence. She competes at the absolute top of this sport, and she brings that same energy into practice. Every ball she hits is real. Every point has resistance. Training against someone like that does not just sharpen your shots. It rewires how quickly your brain processes what is coming at you. It speeds up your decision-making in a way that no drill can replicate. Alex was in those sessions. She stayed on court when rain hit. She pushed through uncomfortable moments when her body was telling her to stop. That kind of week does not show up in any statistics. But it absolutely shows up when a match reaches a critical point and you need to trust your legs, trust your hands, and trust that you have done the work. So by the time that fan walked up and sang to her, Alex was not just emotionally warm, she was physically and mentally ready. And that combination is genuinely rare. Now here is where things get interesting because what is happening around Alex in Miami this week goes beyond one good training block. The crowds are responding to her in a way that feels different. Fans are specifically coming to watch her, not just to watch tennis, not just to catch whoever happens to be on the featured court, but to watch Alex Eala. You cannot manufacture that kind of attention. Marketing cannot create it. A good press release cannot generate it. It happens when a player does something on court that makes people feel something, and Alex has been doing exactly that. Her game this week has looked sharper, more aggressive, more confident than we have seen in stretches before. There is a version of Alex that shows you flashes of what she can do and then disappears for a set or two. That version has not shown up in Miami. The version we are watching this week is stepping into the court, taking the ball early, and using her forehand like the weapon it genuinely is. And when Alex plays that way, it changes the entire atmosphere of a match before anything critical even happens. A big part of that comes from her background at the Rafa Nadal Academy. If you know what the academy produces, then you already know what I mean. They do not just teach you to hit harder. They teach you to construct a point. Heavy spin, deep balls that push opponents behind the baseline, the patience to stay in rallies until the right moment opens up, that is the foundation Alex was built on. Her forehand specifically carries that DNA. It is not just fast. It has weight. It has spin that forces opponents to adjust their position even when the ball lands inside the court. That kind of forehand does not just win individual points. It physically relocates where the opponent has to stand and slowly takes away the options they are most comfortable with. Against Karolina Muchova, that forehand is going to be the central weapon. But let's talk about Muchova for a second because she is absolutely not the kind of opponent you show up unprepared for. Karolina Muchova is one of the most uncomfortable draws you can get in the WTA field when she is playing well. And the reason she is uncomfortable is not just that she is good. It is that she is unpredictable in ways that mess with your rhythm before you even establish one. Her first serve, when it is landing consistently, is genuinely dangerous. She can generate free points off it in a way that very few players can match. One good serve and she is already dictating the next shot before the point has really started. From the baseline she is powerful and controlled, but the thing that makes her truly difficult to solve is the variety. She does not just stay back and trade. She comes to the net. She drops short. She changes pace at moments you are not expecting. There are flashes of Federer in how she approaches certain points, not in terms of playing style exactly, but in the way she refuses to let a match settle into a pattern that suits the opponent. She ends points on her own terms. And that variety only works when her execution is clean. When it is not, when her first serves start missing, when her shot selection gets slightly hesitant, the whole thing becomes vulnerable. Alex needs to recognize those windows immediately and be aggressive enough to push through them before Muchova resets. So what does the right game plan actually look like here? High balls to Muchova's backhand, that is priority one. It disrupts her timing and pulls errors from the side of her game where she is slightly less dominant. Mixing in drop shots is equally important because it drags Muchova forward and takes her out of the baseline position she prefers to operate from. The critical thing Alex absolutely cannot let happen is allowing this match to become a predictable exchange at one pace. If the rallies become flat and repetitive, Muchova thrives in that environment because she can read what is coming and use her variety to take control. Alex needs to be the one introducing change, not reacting to it. The serve matters more than people might immediately notice. Alex needs to keep her first serve percentage high throughout the match because if she is consistently starting points on second serve against Muchova, she loses the ability to dictate early. Slice serves wide in the deuce court can open the court and set up the forehand that everything else is built around. And when that forehand gets rolling, when Alex is stepping in, hitting deep and heavy and forcing Muchova onto her back foot, the dynamic of this match shifts dramatically. Longer rallies tilt in Alex's direction. Her fitness, her movement, her ability to stay in points when they get physical, that is where the training week in Miami starts paying real dividends on the scoreboard. But if Muchova keeps points short, controls the tempo with her serve, and finishes at the net when the opportunity is there, Alex will have a much harder time imposing her style. Fine margins. Genuinely fine margins. Now here is the part that actually decides matches like this, and it does not get talked about enough. The mental component. Alex is young. That is just a fact. But young does not mean inexperienced under pressure anymore. Not when you look at what she has produced in big moments over the past several months. She does not panic when sets go against her. She does not abandon her game plan because the first few games are rocky. She stays in her patterns, she stays physical, and she trusts that her preparation is enough to carry her through. That trust matters enormously against Muchova specifically, because Muchova can take control of a match in waves. She can go on a run and shift the momentum so quickly that it feels like the whole match changed in 10 minutes. And when an opponent feels that happening, the natural instinct is to play tighter, to go for bigger shots, to do something different out of panic. That instinct is exactly what loses matches against players like Muchova. The correct response is the opposite. Stay patient, keep playing your game. Trust that if you keep doing what you do well, the uncomfortable moments will arrive for her too. The question is whether Alex can hold that composure when the pressure genuinely spikes. And based on everything she has shown this week in Miami, the answer looks like yes. Here is what is so fascinating about where Alex Eala is right now. The ranking number does not fully capture it yet, but the crowd already understands something before the rankings do. Fans are singing to her outside practice courts. People are rearranging their schedules to catch her matches. That organic connection between a player and a crowd, that is an incredibly rare thing, and it is accelerating around Alex right now. Sport at the highest level is partly a mental game and partly an emotional one. The way a player walks onto the court, whether they feel loose, confident, connected to something larger than just the tactical preparation, affects how they perform in the moments that decide everything. Alex had a full week of elite preparation. She had quality training partners pushing her every day. And then right before her biggest match, a fan stopped her and sang her a song just because they wanted to. She smiled. She said thank you. She carried it with her. She walked onto that court with everything she needed: the physical readiness, the tactical preparation, the mental clarity, and one completely genuine human moment reminding her why any of this actually matters beyond the score. Whether that is enough to beat Karolina Muchová, we will find out on the court. But the fans already know who they came to watch. And when they are singing before the first ball is even struck, that tells you more about where Alex Eala is heading than any number next to her name ever could.